What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are here with the final injury report of the week for the Lions and for the Bears. It's weird because usually this is when we start talking about the injury report, but no, this is it, the final one. This one's also a little bit different too because usually it's like Saturdays, there's no injury report on Saturday. And we may get some designations like 4 p.m. Eastern time we know is a deadline. So you got players, he announced roster moves on Saturday. It's not like that. It's not like that today. So the Bears have already announced some roster moves. Practice squad players have been elevated on their side. And we may get some of those for the Lions as well. I don't know if we'll have it for this video, but we may. So let's get it started.
The city's been down and it found a way to get up. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. We're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, we're here with the final injury report. Now, I'm going to try to go through this video pretty fast. I know I usually say that. It doesn't end up happening. But trust me, I'm really going to fly through it because I have to get prepared for the show for last second dose. If you guys are watching this right now, I don't know when you're watching this. Thank you, first off. Secondly, if we're live, tune in and you can come back and watch it. If not, you can watch to the end. But, hey, we might be live right now. So just check it out because we might be live right now. And that'd be pretty cool if you tune in. But we have the final injury report here to fly through first. We do have designations from both sides, like a lot. There's a lot of outs on the Lions side, which is never good news, but there's a lot of them. Same thing on the Bears side. This is a weird week of practice, too, because it was just kind of like almost like a walkthrough week, right? I mean, today I'm sure teams didn't ramp it up on Wednesday, the day before the game, and especially knowing that you're playing at 12:30 tomorrow, I'm sure they didn't ramp it up. It was probably like, all right, let's walk through this again. This is a mental week. It was a rest week. It was one of those weeks where they just want to make sure everybody's body was good to go for this game and that they were mentally prepared. And man, oh man, I'm just excited to be here with this final injury report. Let's start off with the Bears first, just in case we get any updates about the Lions roster moves. And that way I can throw that in if we get some. But right now I have the designations. We'll see if we get some. Let's start off with the Chicago Bears side of the injury report first, and then we'll take a look at the line. Diving into the Bears side really quickly. Let's start off at the top. It's the big one. It's Justin Fields. We knew this by yesterday, but he will not be playing in this game. The only thing that was really up to imagination is whether or not he might be active. But it was kind of like, yeah, he's probably not going to be active either. So he's inactive. He's out. He will not be dressing for the Chicago Bears. Andy Dalton will be the starter in this game. How often you play both of the team's quarterbacks in the same year, especially in this order. Like, I would have thought it would have been the other way around. Like, coming in the year, I would have definitely thought, okay, maybe we play Andy Dalton first and then Justin Fields comes in later in the year. But no, it's the other way around. Very strange. Now, their backup will be Nick Foles. I forget a lot of times that he's even on their team still. Yeah, so that is their backup in this game behind Andy Dalton. Akeem Hicks. This is another big one. We know about the game changer. Akeem Hicks can be on the D-line. He's out. He did not practice all week with an ankle injury, so he will not play in this game. Yesterday, we said that they signed Marcus Hunt to their roster to give them some defensive line depth, and it looks like they may need some of that. And plus, they know who they're playing. Like, they're playing us. We're going to be running the ball a lot. They've seen the last 2 weeks, and if it's anything like that, they got to have big bodies. They got to have those big bodies across the front seven. So Akeem Hicks is out. Justin Fields is out. Allen Robinson. Here's a huge one. Their top receiver hasn't had the same year that we've seen in the past. I think the last 2 years up till this season, he had like 100 receptions each. But he is doubtful for this game. He did not practice this week at all. And that's kind of strange. You usually don't expect that with a guy that meets with the media. But he did say that he wasn't sure if he was going to play. He didn't practice at all this week. They're not counting him out, but I don't think I don't even know if I've ever seen a player listed as doubtful and then play in the game, unless I'm just not remembering. So it looks like there's a good chance Allen Robinson is also out for this game. Now, what the Bears did today is they elevated a player off their practice squad, Isaiah Coulter, who was a 5th-round pick from the Houston Texans back in 2020, 6'2", 200. He's pretty athletic. He just hasn't really put it all together. He's only played one offensive snap this season. I believe it was with the Bears. So he's been elevated off their practice squad, which may give you a little bit more of an idea that, yeah, he's probably out of this game. All right, so 3 big names, and they're all out. Damian Williams, he hasn't practiced this week either at the running back position. They have Montgomery. They have Herbert, so they're okay there, but he is also out for this game. Eddie Jackson, top safety, limited participation once again from Eddie Jackson. He is listed as questionable for this game, a top playmaker in the back, and they would love to have that, knowing that they are missing a guy like Akeem Hicks on the D-line. It sounds like Eddie Jackson is probably going to be playing this weekend. Look, this is a pass defense that statistically hasn't been at its best, like maybe in years past, like we expect it to be. But at the same time, we know about some of the playmakers on this team. There is no Khalil Mack. There is no Akeem Hicks. But they also do have a Robert Quinn who had 3.5 sacks last week against the Ravens, which is a lot. Some of that's because they had a mobile quarterback, but it's still a lot. Travis Gibson got after it. They still got pressure guys. All right, they still have guys like there that can do that. They don't have Duke Shelley. He's on IR now. And it hasn't been the top pass defense that maybe we have seen in years past, but it's still a good pass defense. Last time we played him, we moved the ball on him. If you guys remember, I think Goff had 300 yards passing. I think we moved the ball on him. We just didn't capitalize in the red zone, which was really, I think we were like the first team that year to really move it like that on Chicago, which was strange. But anyways, hopefully we can move it, but this time actually capitalize, capitalize when we get into the red zone. Darnell Mooney, listed with a foot injury, limited once again today. He is listed as in, so it's still limited participation, but they didn't give him a designation, which means he will be playing in this game. That's a big get for them, knowing that Allen Robinson's probably out. Having Mooney's going to be huge, especially when you know what he did last time. I remember playing this time. I remember playing the Lions and what I did to them the first time. He's ready on national stage to try to do that again. There's one pretty key difference, and that's that Bobby Price is not starting in this game. Remember, Bobby Price started and then ended up, Jerry Jacobs came in. I think he played like 18 snaps, but Bobby Price came in as the starter in this one. And I'm pretty sure we set him down because he was struggling. But remember, that's one of the big differences this week. Mario Edwards Jr. This is an interesting one. So this is their only downgrade on today's practice report. Again, it's probably another walkthrough today. He went from full participation to limited participation. Now he's listed as questionable. That's Mario Edwards Jr. on this D line. And this could be a tough loss. The guy's 5 pressures, 1.5 sacks. Not like he's played a ton. Usually like 30% of the snaps defensively at most. But there is a shot that he doesn't play this weekend, or at least the Bears are maybe getting prepared for that. Taking another player from the practice squad and elevating him for this game. It's linebacker Sam Kamara. All right, or Kamara. I don't exactly know how you pronounce. Kamara sounds cool. Kamara sounds cool. So I'm good with both of them. But either way, Sam listed as linebacker. He was a defensive end back in college, 280 pounds, very similar size to Mario Edwards Jr. UDFA picked up this year by the Bears. They had a pretty good preseason, it looks like, at least statistically, especially in his last preseason game. The guy had 3 quarterback hits, he had a sack, and he's also shown up in a few games so far this year where he's had a couple of tackles. Really hasn't made that huge of an impact, but he could get to play against us. And again, like I said, when you're playing against the Lions, you know you got to have bodies. You got to have bodies healthy because we're probably going to run the ball a lot. So it's important to have those pieces. And it also could mean that they could be missing a few of these guys. Sean Gibson, the safety senior, I realized I had junior in there. It's probably because Mario Edwards Jr. is above it, and it probably confused me, my brain.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Up, y'all know I ain't getting that regular milk. That vanilla almond. I looked at his name and I'm like, I know that's wrong, but some reason I still typed it in that way. Full participation, even though he's listed as questionable, he's practiced. I believe full participation all week for him. Yes, all week for him. So he's listed as questionable, but that probably means he's going to play. And wrap it up with Marquise Goodwin, who is also listed as questionable, but I'm pretty sure he was full participation all week as well. So I guess they just didn't list him as in. Marquise Goodwin, when you're missing a guy like Allen Robinson, to have another playmaker on the outside. So that is the Bears side of the injury report. Right now, we know that 2 are. You throw in Khalil Mack to that mix, who's on IR. He's out for the season. You got to look out for Robert Quinn, Travis Gibson, Marsh. You got to look out for those guys at the outside linebacker position, and potentially some of these depth players. It's going to be a real interesting matchup this week. I'm curious. And I think Dan Campbell was a little bit prepared for this, right? He was prepared that this pass rush may not be as good as the Browns one, but you cannot overlook it because they still do have playmakers. They may not have, they may not, like, the names Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney may not be the same as Travis Gibson and Robert Quinn, but they're still playmakers, and Quinn has had a real solid year, real good year, I would say. On to the Lions side of the injury report. Unfortunately, we got a lot of outs today. I wouldn't say they're big surprises because they're guys that haven't practiced all week, but you still don't like to see it. You were kind of hoping for, oh, wait, they improved, and now they might be able to play, but it's on a short week, so it's always tough to do that, especially for the guys that got injured in Sunday's game. Well, when you look at the Lions side of the injury report, let's start off at the top. It's the guy that showed up yesterday with limited participation with a knee injury, and limited once again today, listed as questionable. This is one guy, man, you cannot overlook this. Seriously. All right, when the inactives drop tomorrow, look for Michael Brockers. Look for Michael Brockers just to see if he's playing, because I'm telling you, this is one of those injuries that you should not overlook. He is such an impact player, especially in our run defense. And with the way that the Bears are going to try to establish the run game, it's the Lions' game plan, stop the run first. Michael Brockers is a huge piece of that. I would love to get to see him be able to play on Thanksgiving. I think that'd be really cool for him. And he's played real well this season, if you ask me. He's been very consistent, especially in the run game. So for him to be able to flash on that national stage would be awesome. So that's a big one to keep an eye out for. Now, Big V, concussion, showed up last week. He went out. Tommy Kramer stepped in. He's out this week. He didn't practice all week. Kramer flashed a few times, especially in pass pro. I mean, I didn't watch the entire All 22. We kind of went through the first half yesterday, but especially in pass pro, I thought he was doing his thing. So shout out to the Notre Dame guy. I mean, shout out to Tommy Kramer stepping in. I got some confidence with that happening, but we know it is another young guy at that guard position. You have Sewell as a rookie. You got a young Tommy Kramer. You got a young Evan Brown. You have a second-year player, Jonah Jackson. The only vet you have on this line right now is Taylor Decker. So it's a young line, and you got to know that with the Bears missing pieces, they're going to try to throw off this line. That's had some issues with blitz pickups, pass protections. They're going to throw stunts at us. They're going to throw delayed blitzes at us. They're going to try to get our offensive line to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time and try to get free rushers because they may not be confident they can always win their one-on-ones, but they can open up some things defensively. I got to believe that is going to be part of their game plan in this one. So it's going to be very important because we got a lot of young dudes out there. AJ Parker, I hate to see this one. He's out for this week with an ankle injury. He didn't practice all week. Again, I'll keep an eye on it, see if the Lions elevate anybody. We know Jacobs can mix in there a little bit. Will Harris will probably mix in there a lot. If somebody, gets elevated, we'll talk about it, especially in the live show. Right now, I haven't seen any roster moves yet. They do have a Nickel Roby-Coleman. They could do it if they want to, but he didn't get elevated last time, so I'm not even anticipating it. But we know AJ Parker's out. That's just a big loss. It really is. He's played well to me the last couple weeks he's been on the field. Trinity Benson, the last 2 days, did not participate. He showed up as limited on Monday, but the last 2 days, probably maybe getting a little bit more into the practice action, did not participate, and he's out for the second straight week, which means, again, expect to see a little bit of Tom Kennedy out there for some depth purposes, just for that alone. But this is a game that we're really keying in and looking at a guy like Josh Reynolds. Now, Jared Goff is the big one. All right, now I haven't gotten an update from like Dan Campbell or anything like that as of now, but I see that he's listed as limited for the third straight time this week. We know yesterday he said he was leaning towards Goff. Now he's listed as questionable for this game. It's listed as limited, which means that he probably took first string reps with Tim Boyle, but it wasn't full. Continuing down, Trey Flowers, outside linebacker. He's going to miss another week for the Lions. He didn't practice at all this week. This is another tough loss. I think Austin Bryant stepped up a little bit. We know Charles Harris, where he can help us. And now with Deshaun Hand, you're missing a little bit of depth there as well. It's going to be up to some of these young guys to step up against a good rushing attack. And that's what I'm really hoping we have Michael Brockers along the line. Here's good news, though. Jamar Jefferson listed as questionable. He's practiced all week, just in limited fashion. But he showed up as limited after last week being out and not practicing. That's great to hear because at least it sounds like it's not something that's super long-term. Now, I wouldn't rush him back. If it's like, it's not super great, I just wouldn't have him active. To be honest with you, I'd just be like, all right, let's just set him down. Because we got Jamal, we got Swift, we have Godwin. We don't need him active. Do I think Jamar's an absolute stud? Yes, but I wouldn't want to risk anything long-term with Jamar Jefferson. If he can go, though, I would absolutely have him active. I would put him active, personally. I'd roll with 4 running backs. I'm fine with that. Because Jamar would be the guy getting touches over Godwin, probably in the backfield. And that's nothing against Godwin. I think that Jamar's a playmaker. But I also would have to have Godwin active because of the kick returning responsibilities. And that's what he's brought table to us, as Corey Ballentine, as we know, is now in the practice squad. And to wrap it up with Matt Nelson, the tackle, who is out for the second straight week. No participation all week for Matt Nelson. So look up for, Will Holden and those guys to step up this week as that extra offensive lineman. We'll see. There could be a little bit of differences schematically offensively, but that is your Lions and Bears injury report. As I said, I don't have any roster move updates right now. I don't know when the deadline is. Knowing that's a 12:30 game, I got to believe it's like today at 4. I got to believe like in an hour as of when I'm recording this. That's got to be the deadline. But anyway, I got to get prepared for the live show. So if I get any news, we'll talk about it in the live show. So make sure you guys check us out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And tomorrow's game day. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Check it out on the live show. Even if you miss it, go back and watch it. All right? Friendsgiving. I don't know what we're calling it. Thank you, Bob, for watching, and I'm out.